Hey everyone, Tom here. I wanted to do a short video on my background as an astrologer. If you are new to astrology or have been around it for a while, you know that there are different systems of astrology. And within those systems are a wide array of calculation options for different pieces of astrological techniques. Things like sidereal versus tropical zodiac, or traditional versus modern house rulerships, or even house systems are variables that different astrologers choose to use versus others. This can bring some confusion to astrology clients. You may find that you come to understand from one astrologer that your rising sign is in one place, but another astrologer or book or website says that it's a different one. The fact is, they're both right. It just depends on the system and the astrologer's ability to work within that system. Astrological systems are like languages. You can speak different languages and be understood and accurate in your conveyances. But you try to say that there is only one language to get the point across, or even try to mix these languages, we get inaccurate or limited understanding from interpreting an astrological chart with basically like pig Latin. Those who are into astrology can get very attached to one system versus another. So hearing a different perspective on your birth chart can bring up issues of things like cognitive dissonance or confusion. The fact is, astrology is a vast ocean of information, and there are many different ways to interpret it. Different cultures, time periods, have for a while evolved astrology in different directions, almost in isolation. For me, I started in Vedic astrology, which originates basically from India. Back in 2001, I was led to work for one of these astrologers from India, one of the most famous that I've heard of, Chakrapani Ulal. This man has come from a paternal lineage of astrologers from Kerala, an area known for its astrologers in India. He came here back in the 50s as an astrologer for the guru Sri Muktananda and his following. Then he went into private practice at his home since the early 70s. A week after 9/11, I started managing his practice and website for 2 years, and he was just a reading machine, seeing and talking to over 10 clients 6 days a week. I was able to learn a lot by listening in on a lot of his sessions over the phone, and then after sessions, I would ask questions based on what he said versus what I was learning to see. It was full-time immersion with a master. So later, I began in astrology using I started with the sidereal zodiac and just the traditional planets. It wasn't until 18 years later that I started using the tropical zodiac, but with Vedic astrology techniques. This came after much reading, learning, and taking astrology courses. One of the more influential teachers I learned from was Ernst Wilhelm, who wrote an article a while back for a well-known publication that summarized years of deep research into the subject of sidereal versus tropical. His perspective and conclusions were shown to us through classes over the years, and I just started testing the accuracy between the two and found that, especially with Western clients, the relatedness and accuracy increased significantly. So I locked it in. So as of today, I'm an astrologer who uses Vedic astrology with a tropical zodiac. Now, when it comes to nakshatra-based techniques, like Vimshodari Dasha system, I still use sidereal. Since that shift, I have also come to find truth and relevance with the outer planets. So I use those as well. That would be Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus. When it comes to asteroids, dwarf planets, centaurs, etc., I've only really recently started testing those. But I see there is some validity to these celestial objects, but I also understand that, as with other astrologers using them, we are in fairly new territory here. We have centuries and millennia of astrological knowledge, and then just a couple of decades or so of asteroid research. So I take it as a grain of salt for now. In the last couple of years, I've also stepped up my learning of what they call Western astrology, which can be a conglomeration of all astrology that came from pretty much anywhere other than India and China. This started when I was getting into prajna, which is astrology in the moment. When someone comes to you with an authentic, emotionally charged question, you can cast an astrology chart for that moment, and there are a wealth of techniques to interpret that. In Western astrology, this is called orrery. Same premise, but different set of techniques. So after learning about orrery, I just kept going, looking into all the Western astrological techniques. Lately, I've been getting really into astrocartography, which is a way to see how your chart expresses itself differently depending on where you are on the planet. So this really kind of helps understand how different locations can affect you differently. So I'll post a video on this soon. But in the meantime, I just want to say that over time, I've basically hybridized my astrological approach. Like languages, I don't speak a blend like Spanglish or anything, but I use the system being called for in the situation at hand. For example, I use different house systems, Placidus, equal, and whole, only on the Western astrology side, depending on the techniques used. If you don't know what those house systems are, don't worry. It's not something that will take away anything from a session. I might make a little video on the differences soon. We'll see. Chakrapani had once told me, you can spend every waking minute of your life studying astrology, and by the end of your long life, you might have only gotten through about 20% of it. So this is one big reason why I love astrology. I have a crazy active brain, get bored pretty easily with things. So probably one of the reasons I also got into IT for 26 years, information technology, is that you can never get bored with it. So while I have been practicing astrology for over 20 years, I'm still learning and probably will never stop. The art and science of astrology is also evolving, and that will never stop either. So there is always something to uncover and bring awareness to with astrology. So please like and follow me for more posts like this. Until next time.